Procrastinate. To keep delaying something that must be done, often because it is unpleasant or boring. For example, I know I've got to deal with the problem at some point. I'm just procrastinating. It's not like I don't want to do what I'm doing at the time when I veer off when someone asks me how I would go about making tiny chairs and tables for a tiny classroom diorama. I think I just like problem solving, and sometimes problems come out of nowhere and I need to solve them then and there. So I made these tiny chairs and tables out of paper and paperboard just because someone asked me how would I go about making them. And as I began to write out this lengthy text message on the process and theory, I found myself itching to make them. Because what if my theory was incorrect? I didn't want to steer this person in the wrong direction. And I too want to know what it felt like to make tiny chairs and tables. It kind of goes for everything else I make. I want to know what it feels like to make a scissor lift, or a house, or a shipping container. Oh, a shipping container that has a smaller shipping container inside, like a babushka shipping container. So here we are making tiny chairs and tables. The tabletop, backrest and seat are made out of brown 180 GSM paper card to mimic the old school table look. And the legs are made out of metallic silver 180 GSM paper card. The thicker paperboard is 1.2mm box board. It adds a little bit more surface so that the legs have more surface to stick to. To cut, I'm using the Olfa Art Knife. The shorter blade allows me to use the chopping action instead of the slicing action on the repetitive short bits like this. I'm using wood PVA glue to glue everything together, and my trusty glue applicator is a needlepoint tool. I used to use a bamboo skewer but found the metal point to be easier to peel off the glue later. It's as satisfying as peeling off the glue from your hands. Oh, more chopping action now. This is a silicone mat. I think it's used for embossing, but I'm pretty sure there are baking silicone mats that are the same. I'm using this mat because it's easier to pick up the tiny bits with the tweezers later. The struggle is real. The tweezers I'm using are lockable ones. I'm not sure the brand, but I'll put a link in the description of the one that looks similar on Amazon for you. I don't really use the locking feature in this procrastination creation, but it does come in handy with other tiny projects. I'm a huge fan of watching process videos and assembly lines where they wrap candy and make wire hangers. Watching huge machines in charge of just one tiny element of a build is really satisfying. Kind of like my Measure-o-matic measuring tool in this vintage industrial machine green. It's measuring out 3mm backrests for the chairs. Now I'm sticking down the metallic silver card strips to the backrests. These are the back legs of the chairs. So back to the Cambridge Dictionary meaning of procrastinate. To keep delaying something that must be done, often because it is unpleasant or boring. But what I was doing before I became fixated on these tiny chairs and tables wasn't boring or unpleasant. But it's kind of like when you add a bit of salt to chips or caramel. That tiny break on your taste buds freshens things up. Cutting a different thing out of different coloured paper freshened up my making buds. Also, there's a bit of a thrill then that I get when I procrastinate, like I'm doing something naughty or risky. Oh, I see you jumping off cliffs and riding bikes down steep European seaside streets, and I raise you with tiny chairs and tables made out of paper. So there we have it. Tiny chairs and tables for your next procrastination creation. And procrastination isn't that bad. I mean, we made tiny chairs and tables out of paper. And that's really cool. Thanks for joining me on this tiny chairs and tables making journey. See you next time. Bye.